Hello everybody and welcome to my channel, Fertility, Hope, and Healing. My name is Dawn and I do videos for those who are trying to get pregnant or are having difficulties getting pregnant. I have worked over 15 years with couples all around the world to help them achieve their dreams of having a baby. Today I'm going to be discussing 5 things that could possibly be preventing you from getting pregnant. These are probably things that you don't even think about or may have never even heard about or know that could be preventing you from getting pregnant. So I kind of wanted to go over these things because these are things that I go over with my patients in my fertility program and just ask them questions on these certain areas of their life if they can make some changes. It's not necessarily to do all these things to make changes, but these are just things you could consider, okay? And some of them actually would be kind of mandatory. So the first thing is what kind of feminine protection do you use when you're actually on your cycle? And why this would possibly get in the way of you getting pregnant is because there are chemicals that are in these feminine products, okay? In particular, I'm sure with tampons you've heard of toxic shock syndrome, which is something that actually can lead to death. And that's if you leave a tampon in for a really, really long period of time. But what I had learned when I was in Chinese medical school is that the best form of feminine protection would be more to use pads and to use ones that are organic or chemical free, that are made with natural sources like cotton. And if you have to use a tampon, to use it chemical free and cotton. Okay, but in particular, they are not big fans in Chinese medicine of using tampons because the belief system is that, you know, you don't want anything pushed back in. You want it to be able to flow out. And they believe it could be a causation of some gynecological conditions like endometriosis, possibly, or contribute to it, make it worse. But the whole point is that there are chemicals that are in these feminine protection products that you will need to consider because your body absorbs everything it touches. And it's best just to stay as chemical free as possible. It's not 100% necessary to go completely chemical free, but the more you can reduce your toxic load and what you're absorbing, especially down in that area, the better. So I would consider, if you are using tampons, to consider using pads. I know some people, they have to use both because they bleed a lot. And I get that. And then sometimes too, you know, you go swimming, you have to use the tampon. It's not something you have to do 100% of the time, but consider changing your feminine products, at least to doing more organic products, okay? That would be my first tip. The second thing to consider, that's something that maybe, you know, preventing you from getting pregnant, would be, in general, as I mentioned before, chemicals, okay? Chemicals, we're surrounded by them all the time. I want you to consider the chemical cleaners that you're using, the things that you are exposed to on a daily basis, like all of your beauty products, the makeup that you're using, all of your skincare products, and all of your bath and body products, all right? So there's a really great app called Think Dirty that you can use and download, and it will scan products to find out what kinds of chemicals are in there. And they don't have every single product, but it's really gives you I think a number between 1 and 10 that will rate the product, 10 being the highest and the worst, and 1 being the elite, or 0, you know. I don't know any products out there that are 0 that I've scanned thus far, but anything that you're in question, is this safe for me to be using when I'm trying to have a kid, or when I'm pregnant, or even afterwards? You want to know if your stuff's safe, you know, when you're having these products around children, especially the cleaning products and so on and so forth. It's a good idea to get an app like that to kind of judge what's going on. And why that's so important is because chemicals disrupt hormones, all right? They're endocrine disruptors, and they're toxic, okay? They cause more of a toxic load in the system, and it is a huge problem these days. And it is, I personally believe, one of the contributing factors as to why so many people have difficulties getting pregnant easily in this modern day and age. You know, we're bombarded by, I call them unconscious stressors, things that you just are not aware of. You know, things like your cell phone can be an unconscious stressor because you're exposed to radiation. But what I want you to do is to consider the chemicals that you're using around your house to see if that could possibly be a reason why you're struggling getting pregnant. And consider, you know, when you are done with those chemicals, replacing it. Even things considering too, I want to mention your antiperspirant. If it has aluminum in there, that is something that is a heavy metal, very, very difficult to detoxify from, and it causes, again, problems. So it can for sure go past the blood-brain barrier, affect your brain, and it also can affect your little baby because it'll go through the umbilical cord. So yes, consider trying to reduce the amount of chemicals that you're exposed to in your home, in your bath and body, in your makeup, and all those different things, and start supporting companies that will help reduce that. Okay, so the third thing that could possibly prevent you from getting pregnant, now this is for sure something that will get in the way of you getting pregnant, and that is lubricants. Okay, so using lubricants while you're having sex, they actually kill sperm. Okay, most of them. There's only one that doesn't, and that is pre-seed, and I did talk about that in a previous video about the 3 ways you can get pregnant easily or quickly. I'll link that video below. But yeah, lubricants are not good for fertility in any way, shape, or form. And so, and first and foremost, you need to ask why it is you need a lubricant. If you're not having enough moisture or cervical mucus, that's something that could be a hormonal issue and definitely needs to be addressed and treated. But in general, some people, maybe they like lubricants, or, you know, there's fun ones out there that you can get at adult stores or sex shops or whatever, and they maybe just like using them, but understand that that will kill sperm cells. I'm sorry, that will kill sperm. And it doesn't kill all of it, but it reduces the amount greatly. So yeah, you can still possibly get pregnant with it, but if it could be a way that it's actually getting in the way of you getting pregnant. So just consider that if you're using a lubricant, don't use it during your fertile window when you're trying to get pregnant. Okay, so the number 4 thing to consider also that could be getting in the way of you getting pregnant, and this is something that I see all the time with my patients, and that's really them not considering that when you're trying to get pregnant, you kind of act like you're getting pregnant even though you're not pregnant. All right, so you really need to consider staying away from certain things that you wouldn't do if you were pregnant. All right, things like going out and drinking coffee on a regular basis, having like too much caffeine. You have to understand your caffeine level needs to stay really between the ranges of 20 to 60 milligrams a day. That's not much. It's really like a cup of tea or two. So you want to pay attention to your caffeine levels. You want to pay attention to like going out and drinking alcohol with friends or at brunch or doing that on a regular basis. If you're trying every month to get pregnant, you really want to stop doing those things, because that could be the things that are stressing out your body enough that's preventing you from getting pregnant. Okay, so why do you have to give up coffee? Because it can affect your nervous system. It can stress yourself out, you know, a little bit more. It can contribute to anxiety, insomnia, and to hypertension, all different kinds of things that that cause your body more stress. Alcohol can affect your pancreas and it really causes, you know, if you already have insulin resistance, that'll just make it worse. Yeah, it can also decrease the amount of quality of sleep you have every single night. So a little bit here and there is okay. It's just that you just really, if you're having issues with getting pregnant, it's better just to stay away from all that stuff if you plan not doing it anyway when you're pregnant, which most people don't drink when they're pregnant. Okay, so yeah, just consider that. Also consider, you know, if you wouldn't eat certain things when you're pregnant, don't eat them now. Okay, if you can't eat sushi when you're pregnant, stay away from sushi now, all right? Just get in the habit of doing these things. And, you know, the list of things go on and on and on of what women need to be wary of when they're pregnant. There's a great book out there called What to Expect When You're Expecting, and that goes over it. And there's a lot of books. There's information on the internet. So just look that up and figure out, okay, why is it I have to stay away from these things? It's just to be safe for your health and your well-being. Like anything raw is considered to be, you know, they put disclaimers on it at sushi shops, you know, eating raw fish could be bad, you know, something could happen. So, but again, and not only that too, sushi, when you're eating tuna and swordfish and certain types of fishes, they have a higher count of heavy metals. So again, that could be something that's, if you're eating a lot of that, you may want to consider getting tested for heavy metals. We do that in our office for our patients. We have saliva tests that actually do that for them. But again, if you want to consider, you know, doing that with us, you can contact us at lifeharmonywellness.com. But yeah, just consider, you know, if you're not, anything that you are eating, exposed to, putting on your skin, okay, you're absorbing, all right? And you want to kind of understand that you're feeding your baby now because you're laying the groundwork for that child when you do get pregnant in preparation, if that makes sense, okay? So kind of act like you're pregnant right now and when you're trying to get pregnant, okay? Don't quit when you actually get pregnant, because this will help increase your fertility. Excuse me, it will increase your fertility. Okay, and so the last thing, the fifth thing I wanted to talk about is mindfulness. This is really, really important to pay attention to, because a lot of times what we're saying over ourselves really, really matters, all right? And I really am addressing to those people that are, you know, struggling getting pregnant, because what we say over ourselves really, really matters. And some of the things that we will say is like, I can't get pregnant, you know, month after month you're trying and it's not happening. You'll say, it seems like I can't get pregnant. Everybody else around me is getting pregnant. Or you'll say things like, I will never get pregnant. You know, this has been going on so long, I'm just never gonna get pregnant. Or is this ever going to happen for me? Or you may have a diagnosis of PCOS or endometriosis and you say, this is gonna be really hard for me to get pregnant and I'm having a tough time getting pregnant. A lot of people don't get pregnant with this, you know, which is so not true, guys. So many people get pregnant with these conditions and I help a lot of them all the time, okay? So what you're saying over yourself, the story that you're saying that's going on in your head, is so huge. I would say it's one of the number one things that possibly could prevent you from getting pregnant. Although I want to say there's a lot of grace involved in this, because just because you're saying it doesn't mean necessarily it's going to happen. How many times have people said that and then they adopt and then they have a baby? They get pregnant on their own, you know, because the pressure's off and their body relaxes, you know. But really watch what you're saying over yourself, because what this will do is it will affect your body. Your mind affects your body. It will affect your emotions, all right? And that will block certain things in your body from happening, almost as like a protective source, you know, so, or a protective mechanism. And this is happening on a subconscious level. So there could be a lot of fears that you have involved too with becoming a mom based on health issues that you're dealing with. You want to address those health issues first and really love and nurture yourself and just be really mindful of what is going on in your head. And I want to encourage you guys to know that if you have all the working parts, you are fertile, okay? You are fertile. And I want you also to know that you can say that over your life. You know, what you're speaking will actually, you can attract what you're speaking and what you're thinking about. I really do believe in that. So I want to encourage you to say right now that I am fertile, all right? And then each month that you try, or if you're doing an IUI or an IVF cycle, say I am pregnant, okay? I am pregnant, I am pregnant, I am pregnant, until you know if you're pregnant or not, all right? Just speak it into existence, because there is power in your words prophetically that can really change your life. Plus, you know, just be loving and caring and nurturing to yourself in everything that you say. You know, you're not broken, all right? You guys can really get pregnant. Most of you guys out there can get pregnant. And the biggest difference between you and someone who is easily getting pregnant is really confidence, okay? And you can build that confidence in yourself by really changing the thoughts that are going on in your mind. So I really wanted to encourage you guys with that, because that is my number 5 tip, and really probably the most important tip is just mindfulness. Really good, positive, good thoughts, loving, nurturing, caring thoughts that will about fertility, knowing that you're fertile, okay? I hope that encouraged you guys today. If you guys want to follow us on Instagram and join our community, we're changed our name from Life Harmony Wellness there to Fertility, Hope, and Healing to match this channel. And then subscribe to our channel too to join our community. We also have a really great newsletter we would love to give you. You can also subscribe to that by looking at the description below. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, guys. And I just wish lots of blessings to you guys on your fertility journey, and we'll see you next time.